And now, to officially start our meeting, if you join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you for being here today at this different time of the day. And before we get our meeting started, I'd just like to acknowledge that Ed Humphrey, one of our commissioners, is here with us today by virtual reality. And although his background looks like he's sitting right here in Clermont County, he is not. He is at a undisclosed place away from us. But Ed, we're glad that you're here at the meeting today.
I'm in Clermont County, thank you.
You bet. And we would just, I'd touch on the fact that our meeting today was at a different time today because Ed had a previous engagement. And Ed, talk about that engagement for a second.
Milford Schools has a STAR Foundation. They're a Milford School Foundation, and they, among five, inducted me into their Hall of Fame, I guess. And so the 10 o'clock was to meet with seniors, to chat about it, and to get that videotape so it will be played by all the school. And then this evening, there's a dinner at RSVP to honor the five of us.
Well, Ed, on behalf of the Clermont County Board of Commissioners, congratulations.
Thank you.
With that, we'll go ahead and get started with our agenda. We've called this meeting to order. And item B is the approval of regular session minutes of 9/30/2020. Board, I know you've had these minutes from last week early, had an opportunity to review them. Have any changes addressed that you needed? Do I have a motion to approve these minutes?
I make a motion we approve the minutes.
I'll second.
Been moved and received a second. Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes. Tom, on many occasions I moved down to H for some staff and elected official discussion, but I understand that we are not available today for an update on the COVID situation?
That's correct.
Okay. So I'll go right on to C. The afternoon, we have a proclamation, a designation of October 2020 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month here in Clermont County. And I understand that, is it Jennifer Melania will be here to accept that proclamation. Hi, Jennifer.
Hi, how are you?
You'll come up here, not
Okay.
too close, but
Not
closer.
too close.
You know what I mean? Yeah, that works. And please tell everybody who you are. I probably butchered your last name.
I'm Jennifer Milani, and
Close.
I'm one of the program directors at the YWCA Greater Cincinnati, and I oversee the services that we provide in Clermont, Brown, and Adams counties.
Well, we're pleased that you could be here with us today to accept this proclamation for Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So I'll read the proclamation and
Okay.
then I'll give you an opportunity to say a few words at the podium.
Thank you.
Okay. Proclamation for Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Clermont County. Whereas violence against women and children continues to be a more prevalent social problem, and whereas the problem of domestic violence is not confined to any group of people, but crosses all economic, racial, and societal barriers, and whereas the crime of domestic violence violates an individual's privacy, dignity, security, humanity through the systematic use of physical, emotional, sexual, psychological, and economic control and or abuse. And whereas the impact of domestic violence is wide-ranging, directly affecting women and their children and society as a whole. Whereas it is the survivors of domestic violence themselves who have been at the forefront of efforts to bring peace, equity to the home, and whereas it is fitting to set aside a special time to bring this issue to the attention of all Clermont County citizens so they can become better informed and involved in programs to eliminate this epidemic from our society, and to also let families know that they are not alone and there is help and support available for them. And whereas the Clermont County Family Violence Task Force, affiliated with the Little Fork Family Advocacy Center, is joining forces with victim service programs, criminal justice officials, and concerned citizens throughout Clermont County and across the state of Ohio to observe Domestic Violence Awareness Month. Now therefore, we, the Board of Clermont County Commissioners, do hereby proclaim the month of October 2020 as Domestic Violence Awareness Month in Clermont County. And it's signed by David Painter, President, Edwin H. Humphrey, Vice President, and Claire B. Corcoran, Member. Jennifer, on behalf of the Clermont County Board of Commissioners, I'd like to present this proclamation to you for Domestic Violence Awareness Month.
Thank you.
And the podium is yours.
All right. Thank you. On behalf of the YWCA Greater Cincinnati and the residents of Clermont County that we serve, I wanted to share just a little information. In 2020, we have already served 268 women through our court advocacy program. We have 2 advocates that work in Clermont County who assist survivors in sort of navigating the court process and filing protection orders and walking them through that process. We have also served 55 women and 14 children in our domestic violence shelter. Of special note for this year, since the middle of March, our shelter residents have been living in a hotel. This makes it a little challenging for them, a little more challenging and a little more expensive for us, but in terms of wanting to make sure that everybody was safe and able to social distance, we felt that was the best option. Our shelter is rather small and very much community living, shared bathrooms, shared bedrooms, shared living spaces, and we did not feel like we could appropriately social distance and keep everybody safe from a public health standpoint. So they are living in their own individual apartment buildings, hotel rooms, and they have, microwave, small little refrigerator. We're still providing food and all the services that they would have received at the shelter, but they're getting it at the hotel. We will continue that as long as we need to make sure everybody stays safe. We have instituted a texting service to help survivors who maybe are not able to call the hotline or get services they need because they are having to shelter in place with their abusers. That has been an upgrade to our services just in the last couple of months, primarily brought on by COVID. In addition to the survivors that we have served, we have also served 20 men from Clermont County who have been abusive to their partners. And we work with them in our Transform program to try to teach them more socially appropriate ways to deal with their feelings, thoughts, all of that kind of thing, teach them new skills to put an end to domestic violence. So once again, thank you so much for the proclamation. We appreciate all of your support in Clermont County. I did also want to thank specifically the Clermont County courts. They are one of the few courts that have allowed our advocates to continue to come in with survivors during COVID and assist them rather than having to do it via the phone or through some other mechanism. So we greatly appreciate that.
We would be honored if you take a picture with us.
Sure.
And we'll do that over here in front of the screen. That
Okay.
way we can get Commissioner Humphrey.
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you so much. We'll go on to D, the consent agenda. Board, consent agenda has been prepared for us today, and I know you have had it since Friday, had the opportunity to look it over. Are there any items that we need to remove from the consent agenda for further discussion or consideration?
None.
Hearing none, I'd ask for a motion to approve the consent agenda.
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Been moved and received a second. Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Humphrey.
Aye.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes. And we will move to the non-consent agenda, which starts on page 4 at item number 8. It's a recommendation that the Board of County Commissioners adopt Resolution 159-20, Resolving to approve payment to vendors in the amount of $2,359,367.49 as set forth in the BCC approval invoice report for checks dated October 7th, the BCC directed prepaid invoice reports, and/or the procurement card transaction report is presented by the county auditor on 10/5/2020, and further authorizing the county auditor to issue warrants for the same pursuant to Section 319.16 of the Ohio Revised Code. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
I'll second.
Been moved and received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes. Item number 9.
Good afternoon. Item number 9 is a recommendation of Jeremy Evans, County Engineer, with concurrence of Thomas Eibel, County Administrator, to execute record plat number 6293235 to replat lots in the following subdivision in Goshen Township. It is the H.T. Stromaker subdivision, and the purpose is to create a new lot number 89A.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 9. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Been moved and received a second. Any further conversation? Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes. Item 10.
Item 10 is a recommendation of Jeremy Evans, County Engineer, with concurrence of Thomas Eibel, County Administrator, to execute record plat number 6293236 to replat lots in the following subdivision located in Pierce Township, and it's Locust Lake subdivision, and the purpose is to create a new lot number 307A.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 10. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
I'll second.
Been moved and received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes. Item number 11.
Item 11 is a recommendation of Jeremy Evans, County Engineer, with concurrence of Thomas Eibel, County Administrator, to execute record plat number 6293237 for the replat of lots in the following subdivision in Miami Township. The Woods at Miami Trail, section 11A2, and the purpose is to create a new lot number 602A.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 11. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Been moved, received a second. Any further conversation? Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes. Item number 12.
Item 12 is a recommendation of Jeremy Evans, County Engineer, with concurrence of Thomas Eibel, County Administrator, to award a bid for project number LS 1920, and this is the 2020 landslide project, phase 1, located in various townships. Pursuant to the plans and specifications therefore, was awarded to W.E. Smith Construction, Blanchester, Ohio, their lowest and best bid received on 9/10/2020, in the amount of $640,002.50, and to execute contract LS 1920 relative thereto, pursuant to and in compliance with the terms and conditions set forth therein, contingent upon release of required purchase order in concert with requisition number 0004569-00, dated 9/15/2020.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 12. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
I'll second.
Been moved and received a second. Any further conversation? Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes. Item number 13. Thanks, Craig.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, I'm Lyle Bloom, Director with the Clermont County Water Resources Department, and item 13 is a recommendation to award the bid for project number 6401-60166 relative to the PUB Wellfield Control Tower Well 17 through 20 project located in Pierce Township pursuant to the plans and specifications to the Great Lakes Construction Company out of Hinckley, Ohio, for the sole bid received on September 3rd, 2020, at the item prices as outlined therein, for a total amount not to exceed $397,000, and to execute the contract relative thereto pursuant to and in compliance with the terms and conditions set forth therein, and award of bid therefore, and contingent upon the release of the required purchase order. This bid is, as I said, the sole bid that was received, and it is approximately 104% of the engineer's estimate. It will replace the control tower and all the associated electronics and controls associated with that well field that is currently approximately 31 years old.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 13. Do I have a motion for approval?
Yes. I'll make the motion.
Second.
Been moved and received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes. Thanks, Lyle.
Thank you.
Item number 14.
Good afternoon. I'm Pam Haverkost with the Clermont County Emergency Management Agency. Item number 14 is a recommendation by Pam Haverkost, Director of the Clermont County Emergency Management Agency, with the concurrence of Greg Bickford, Assistant County Administrator, to nominate the following individuals for appointment to serve on the Clermont County Local Emergency Planning Committee, and to accept the resignations thereto of the following personnel as approved by the Clermont County Local Emergency Planning Committee on July 16th of 2020, effective July 16th of 2020 through August 14th of 2021, pursuant to in compliance with section 3750.03B of the Ohio Revised Code. So we would be adding Tyler Barash from Clermont County Public Health to replace Mackenzie Dickman. And we would be removing Amber Antoni, who is no longer with the Health Collaborative, and Lisa Herzog, who is no longer with the Health Collaborative. She's no longer with the American Red Cross.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 14. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
I'll second.
Been moved and received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes. Thanks, Pam. Item number 15.
Hello. I have a recommendation from Linda L. Fraley, Clermont County Auditor, with the concurrence of Thomas J. Eigel, County Administrator, to adopt Resolution Number 160-20, resolving to authorize the adoption of the Roth IRA option as an expanded portfolio choice of the Ohio Public Employees Deferred Compensation Section 457 Deferred Compensation Plan, heretofore adopted by the Board of County Commissioners pursuant to Resolution 6-77 on October 3rd, 1977, effective upon adoption, as administered by the Ohio Public Employees Deferred Compensation Board under Plan Number 33000, and in accordance with Ohio Revised Code Chapter 148, any related documentation be and the same hereby is authorized to allow plan members the option of participating in a Roth IRA in conjunction with the passage of Senate Bill 220, which became effective March 19th of 2017.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 15. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
It's been moved and received a second. Any further conversation? Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item number 16.
Afternoon, everybody. I'm Jason Fountain, Assistant Prosecuting Attorney, and item 16 is my recommendation with the concurrence of Thomas Eigel, County Administrator, to authorize Mr. Painter, President of the Board of County Commissioners, to execute 3 satisfactions of mortgage as indicated in the agenda. Mortgages for Bert Phillips, Edwin Hunt, and Janice Hunt, and Zelma Gooding, certifying that the terms of those mortgages and promissory notes stay secured as dated have been satisfied, and authorizing the recorder to release the said mortgages of record for those properties as they relate to the septic system rehabilitation financing program in concert with the Ohio Development Services Agency Small Cities Community Development Block Grant Program, again as outlined in the agenda.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 16. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes. Item number 17.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. This is Yvonne Smith, the Benefit Plan Coordinator for Clermont County. It is my recommendation with the concurrence of Sandy DeHutt, Human Resources Administrator, to accept the recommendation of Haran Associates to move the county stop-loss insurance coverage to Boyer Financial Incorporated of Bellevue, Washington. This provides stop-loss protection for the county's medical and prescription drug plan for calendar 2021, and further to authorize the Human Resources Department to obtain the necessary documents to enter into a contract with Boyer Financial Incorporated for stop-loss insurance coverage for Clermont County for calendar year 2021 accordingly.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 17. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
It's been moved and received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Yvonne, this was outlined in the presentation that they made, correct?
Well, we had an illustrative quote
Right.
during the presentation, and since that time, Boyer firmed it up and actually reduced their initial offering to from 5% to 4%.
Okay.
So we wanted to get it locked in as quickly as possible.
Okay, thank you. Anything further, Board? Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes. Item number 18. Thanks, Yvonne.
Okay, we're up to item number 18, sorry. I'm Lyle Bloom, Director with Water Resource Department. I also have Brent Huntsman is available to help answer any questions that may come up with this. Brent is our consultant with Brand Corporation that's dealt with this agenda topic specifically over many years. So this is a recommendation to execute the amendment to the agreement between the Board of County Commissioners of Clermont County and Seacoast International Incorporated out of Phoenix, Arizona. This was previously ratified by the board on August 1st, 2012, in and as it relates to the final disposition of the post-closure plan for the closed hazardous waste disposal facility located at 5092 Aber Road in Williamsburg, Jackson Township. Specifically, item 10 of the agreement to allow Seacoast to sample the 7 leachate accumulation tanks in lieu of sampling the 26 leachate standpipes that feed the leachate accumulation tanks during the 2020 sampling event. Pursuant to and in compliance with the terms and conditions set forth therein, and with all other terms and conditions of the reference agreement thereto to remain in full force and effect. So this sampling event occurs every 6 years, and instead of, as the motion alludes to, instead of sampling from the 26 individual leachate standpipes, which would essentially be a grab sample, they're going to collect from the composite tanks, which would, or from the tanks that all the leachate standpipes drain to, and that would be more representative of a composite sample. Seacoast approached the county with this request. I think it would make their sampling event, it would be easier for them to do and safer for them to do. And the county's feelings are it would be a more representative and maybe a better sampling event for us as well, that the sample itself would be more representative. So that's why this recommendation is being presented.
Well, if they have a finding in a high level in one of the tanks, will they go back to the wells and figure out where it's coming from, or will we need that?
We have the ability, so there are 2 of the tanks that collect from multiple cells, and if we're not satisfied with the results from those 2 tanks, we can request that they go back and sample from the individual standpipes that feed those tanks. The other tanks only collect from individual cells, so those should be representative of everything that's going on in that cell.
Okay, thank you.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 18. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
A second.
Then moved and received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Lyle, talk just a second about that. Does this have to be done does EPA have to buy in on a composite sample like this when it had been being sampled individually?
No, this is above and beyond what the EPA requirements are. In 2012, we entered into this agreement with EPA's understanding, actually, I think they encouraged the county and Seacoast to seek some type of resolution. So again, all the sampling events, or all the sampling requirements that are in the agreement between us, the county and Seacoast are above and beyond what US EPA requires.
So this is going to drop the number of samples that are needed, but yet some of those tanks are from a point source leachate collection point, but there are other tanks that are multiple points, and you're going to take a composite sample of what's in those tanks. Is that correct?
Correct. This will collect essentially a composite sample from all those tanks. There are 2 tanks that collect from multiple cells, waste cells, and that would, if we have any concern with any of those from those 2 tanks, we can have them go back and collect from the individual standpipes. But again, when they collect from the individual standpipes, it's just a snapshot in time where the tanks themselves have been collecting over many years or many months, and that will be more representative over a longer period of time.
Okay. And then as far as other sampling areas that we have out there, I understand that we have some sampling points that are above and beyond where Seacoast is at as far as towards the lake itself. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay.
We do passive sampling of streams that are upstream and downstream of the Seacoast facility. So any water that may migrate to the surface, if we detect anything there, we would find that through the passive sampling.
Okay. I mean, I just want to make sure that we are comfortable with the sampling strategy and obviously the protection of groundwater for residents in the surrounding area.
Yes, and again, talking with our consultant, we felt that this would be actually maybe better, give us better indications if there were any problems.
Okay. Okay. Anything further, board? Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes. Thanks, Lyle.
Thank you.
Item number 19.
Good afternoon, I'm Steve Scott, County Building Inspector for the Building Inspection Department. Item 19 is a recommendation of Steve Scott, County Building Inspector, Building Inspection Department, with the concurrence of Greg Bickford, the Assistant County Administrator, to authorize Thomas J. Idle, County Administrator, to sign and execute the agreement for consulting services by and between the Board of County Commissioners of Clermont County, Ohio, and XBEX LLC, located at 255 West Court Street, Suite 125W, Cincinnati, Ohio, 45202, for the provision of services relative to plans examination for projects submitted for other than 1, 2, and 3 family dwellings and their accessory buildings, pursuant to the terms and conditions set forth therein and contingent upon the receipt of a purchase order thereof.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 19. Do I have a motion for approval?
Make the motion.
Second.
And moved and received a second. Any further conversation or discussions? And Steve, just for explaining to me, this is going to be for other than 1, 2, and 3 family dwellings. This will be a consulting service where those plans can be sent to that company and they're going to review them for compliance in accordance with your approved standards?
Correct, yes, sir.
Okay.
Then we will get returned comments. We'll distribute the comments with the rest of our comments to the applicants, and then we'll field the telephone calls and responses to how to assist them to comply with the code.
And I would assume that this saves you time and obviously
Yes, sir. So
manpower.
time and headache allows us to manage those larger projects a little quicker.
Okay. All right. Anything further, board? Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes. Item number 20. Hi, Mary.
Hi, good afternoon. Mary Rains from OMB. Item 20 is a request to increase the 2020 annual appropriations for the Common Police Special Project Fund It's a total amount of $11,990 for temporary employee to fill in for someone on extended leave.
Board, you've heard the reading of item number 20. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
Second.
Been moved and received a second. Any further conversation or discussion? Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Corcoran,
Yes.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes.
Thank you.
Thanks, Mary. That concludes our non-consent agenda, and I'll go to F, additions to the agenda. Tom, do we have any additions at this time?
Yes, sir.
Okay, then we will move on to G. I'm requesting an executive session pursuant to section 121.22 G1 and G3 of the Ohio Revised Code to first consider the employment, discipline, demotion, or compensation of one or more public employees, and second, to confer with the prosecuting attorney regarding pending or imminent litigation respectively. Do I have a motion to go into executive session?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
It's been moved and received a second. Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes, we will proceed into executive session. We will return and we will conduct further business. Thank you. We are back from executive session. There were no actions taken and no decisions made. We'll move on with our regular agenda. We are currently at H, county staff and elected officials discussion. Are there any staff or elected officials that want to address the board today?
Mr. Bickford?
Yeah, I will. This is actually for Mr. McNamara, who is preparing for the Port Authority meeting, but we have on the Small Business Incentive Program, we have enough applicants that we are currently at about $480,000 of our $500,000 allocated, and we are going to request the board increase that another $500,000, and we will bring some updated program parameters as well as the updated amount to you at the next session, but we just wanted to let you know that and make sure that there are really no issues if we did expend that CARES money in that manner. We did get our third round allotment in the CARES money, so we are definitely going to put that to good use. Since we've that's a bad term, since we've modified the requirements, we've definitely got a lot more applicants and a lot more people are being served with it. So I think we're up to 85 businesses that are being served with it, and this increase in money should help out more.
Right.
Greg, just let me ask a question about that. Of the businesses that qualified, that the $480,000 is currently earmarked for them, when could they expect to receive that money?
I think OMB is working through that right now. I think those checks are set to go out, or however they're going to disperse it, in the next 2 weeks.
And then we're talking about expanding the parameters, basically opening it up so there's more people, more small business that could qualify for that.
Correct.
And now we're talking about raising that threshold to $1 million. So the county is going to actually appropriate $1 million for the small business effort.
Correct. That is going
Okay.
to be our request of you next week. So unless you give us other direction, we are going to proceed forward with preparing that language.
I think that's great. You know, small businesses were definitely impacted by the COVID restrictions that they had here. They really didn't have a voice to go back up the ladder and to, negotiate that with the governor. So anything that we can do for small business, myself, I believe we should do that. Any comment, Commissioner Corcoran or Commissioner Humphrey?
I agree with you, Commissioner Painter.
I also agree.
Okay. Anything else? Any other staff or elected official discussions?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then I'll move to I, member comments. Board members, any comments today about the meeting? Or comments about other issues?
Comment, sir.
No? Well, hearing none.
Yes.
Go ahead.
Here. So my thing is, we need to continue to be safe. I think COVID's a real thing. I think that it is affecting a lot of people, and regardless of what we hear from others, I think it's really important that we stay safe, wear masks, do what we need to do.
Thank you.
Mr. Humphrey, your point's well taken. Safety is the number one, goal that everyone should strive for. And just since you kind of opened up on that, we'd talk about the president for a second. I mean, obviously, He's surrounded by professionals. He did obviously have a COVID scare there, and as you can see, fear is not a factor there, but good medicine and understanding and taking the necessary precautions are the best path forward.
Yep.
You bet. Any other member comments? Well, if there aren't any, I would ask for a motion to adjourn our meeting today.
Commissioner Painter,
Yes,
may I interrupt?
absolutely.
Okay. It came to our attention that the CCAO Winter Conference this year is going to be starting virtually on December 9th. We have session that day.
Okay.
So I wanted to bring that to the commissioner's attention in the event that they would like to move session for that week, perhaps to Tuesday, December 8th, if everyone's available. Just something for your consideration.
And Tuesday, December 8th would be at
10
10
a.m.
a.m. So, Board, you've heard the request. There's a conflict with the CCAO Winter Conference. I understand that's going to be done virtually. I would ask, I'd ask for a little latitude to modify the agenda here and ask for an add-on to consider a change in the meeting for, currently, that would be the 9th, correct?
That is correct.
Okay.
And we move it to the 8th.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'd ask for a motion to amend the agenda for consideration.
So moved.
I'll second.
Been moved and received a second. Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Humphrey,
Aye.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes, and Holly, if you would do us the honor and introduce a motion for the change there.
This would be a motion to change our regular scheduled session, previously scheduled on Wednesdays as determined by the board back in January. They made the determination to have session on Wednesdays. We would be asking that the board consider moving the December 9th, 2020 regular session to December 8th, 2020 at 10 a.m.
Board, you've heard the recommendation and resolution to move that meeting. Do I have a motion for approval?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Been moved and received a second. Anything further? Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Humphrey.
Aye.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes. Anything else? Then I would ask for a motion to adjourn our meeting today.
So moved.
I'll second.
Been moved and received a second. Roll call, Holly.
Commissioner Humphrey.
Aye.
Commissioner Corcoran.
Yes.
Commissioner Painter.
Yes. That concludes our meeting for October the 7th, 2020. For those who've joined in virtually, thanks for being here with us today. And those who have served us during this board meeting, thank you for all that you do and for all your help today. We will see you next week on Wednesday at 10 a.m. Thank you.